Just flowing, just creeping on the making usage of the useless.
Yeah, I remember watching this video in particular, and I definitely thought that that was probably Napom's best drop, because it was something we heard from him before, but he kind of changed like the overall like style of that routine in general. I thought that was very creative, because Napom tends to reuse a lot of stuff, but he takes this kind of approach, right? He improves on it just ever so slightly. And for that version of that track there, he just kind of changed up the whole tempo and style and genre of the track altogether, and I thought it was really interesting. So it sounded very good. So yeah, that one definitely deserves to get in. I actually probably would have put that one a little bit higher though, maybe like 5 or 6, I think. But yeah.
It's hard to live, repeat your eyes.
As impressive as this one is, I can think of 2 rounds that River did in here in this competition that's even better than that. So whether or not they're in it, let's find out.
How I do? Yeah. All of this is mine. How I do? Yeah. How I do?
I feel like that voice one should have been higher.
Kill him in a boogie. 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 Roll like this, VIP. You can roll like this, like. This is how you do it.
I'm sure this one sounded really, really good live, but yeah, we've heard this one. Like I said at the start, like at Napom's number 9 drop, he does take these old tracks, he improves upon them, right? This one sounded a little bit messy to me, and I remember thinking the same thing when I watched it, when I watched the video for the first time. But yeah, I think his number 9 drop is honestly better than this one. Fireworks fix there.
sandstorm. I'm the sun, man.
Okay.
This is how.
All right. Yeah. The drop against Mr. Android 8 was way better than that one for sure. I don't know why they'd have that one at number 3. I don't even think that one deserves top 10. But Dillip at number 2, guys. Everybody was saying that this was going to be number 1. I think it would be top 3 for me. Number 2 sounds okay for me, but I know that a lot of people were putting this at number 1. So if I were to make my list, maybe this would end up at number 1. So first thought here, number 2 for me doesn't sound too crazy, but I think this one's going to be like if you're going to put Dillip up this high, why not just put him at number 1? I think that's going to be like a lot of people's opinions, simply because it was probably, when you think of drops, it was probably like the most impactful from this year's category. And it was also like, yeah, it was probably like the most impactful drop in a lot of people's opinions. So, yeah, putting out this at number 2 seems like a kind of like almost like a troll, I think, because Swiss Beatbox definitely heard all that. You know, they definitely probably seen those comments because it was literally everywhere. It was being talked about a lot throughout that, like, the upload schedule for solo. So they probably definitely knew. So very interested to see who they put as number 1. If I had to guess, it's probably River, because there is definitely another River round that I'm thinking of that deserves top 5 or top 3 even, that hasn't been shown yet. So probably going to be that River round, but yeah.
How you doing?
Follow this like. Set a fire. 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 I set a fire and a. Dajabu. Hi. Gohan kudasai. Nani Gohan? Ramen sokemen. Boka wikemen.
Alright. So, yeah. This one, I think I can agree with a lot more in this one than I did with the producer category. Solo beatbox is a little bit harder though, because um I think it's harder. Well, yeah, I think it's like a little bit harder to distinguish like what's actually a drop in a solo beatbox. Well, it is kind of clear, but I feel like what they did here is that they kind of took like the bridges leading up to drops almost too literally being a drop and not actually like, you know, taking the drop, the actual drop of the routine and using that in the list. They kind of like they included the bridge a lot. Um, so um, I guess you can technically call that like, you know, the point where it leads into a drop, like as part of the drop as well. But I don't know. They did that here a lot more than they did in producer because I feel like producer, like loop station in general, like produced music is a lot easier to distinguish that. Like, um, but yeah. Anyway, that's like one of the first things I noticed here. But yeah, I could agree with like a lot of these. This one is definitely, in my eyes, definitely not as controversial as this producer. So the producer one was just fucking ridiculous. I don't know, like I felt like that was intentional to fuck it up that hard for the producer, but this one feels like they actually put in effort to make like a solid objective list. Um, but yeah, they still fucked up a few times here, I think. Especially with that Abo Ice round, that third, I think it came in at number 3. That one didn't even deserve top 10, and the one that they used, um, probably should have been number 3. The one, his one against Mr. Androide, probably should have been in the place of that one, I think. Um, they putting River at number 1, uh, like for me, not the biggest deal. Although thinking back at it, I don't know if that was even River's like best drop that he had. I think it was definitely still top 10 for sure. Um, I'd have to go and like refresh my memory a little bit for the solo because it's been like a little bit now since I like re-listened to them. But um, yeah, I do remember River being the biggest standout for me, and he had a lot of really sick rounds. So um, I don't think that moment in particular was his best, if that makes sense. So I can see River being at number 1 for whatever, but yeah. And also Dillip being number 2. For me personally, not the biggest deal, but I feel like he probably should have been number 1 simply because, you know, that's what everyone else was pretty much thinking, going into, or yeah, even going into that category from when they watched it on the live stream to eventually hearing it on the videos, because it was talked about so much, man. It was even like talked about in my videos. So yeah, that's probably the biggest standout I'd imagine for most people. Everything else, um, yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion about everything else, but yeah, maybe actually the Wing one. I remember Wing's second round in the small final had a really sick drop. I'm pretty sure. Um, I had to go back and listen to it, but I don't remember seeing that one anywhere. Um, yeah, nothing really else I can think about in terms of like upsets. But I think like yeah, for the most part, just like switch a few around, then I think it would be more respectful in my eyes. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. At least it didn't turn it like fucking 2021's, right, where they had that helium counter round not even make it in the top 10 and for it to be honorable mentions. I think like if they took Dillip's round and put that as like an honorable mention, then that would have been like absolutely atrocity, right? Because they did that with Helium's counter round against um, King Inertia, which in all accounts is a drop. It was incredibly impactful and probably one of the most talked about moments in the entire event, and they put that one in honorable mentions, which was absolutely crazy. So at least they didn't do that here for this one. They did it in fucking producer though when they put Almighty Push in honorable mentions, which is crazy. But they didn't do that here, so at least that it has that going for it, right? They didn't like completely disrespect us in that regard. But yeah, definitely some issues with this one as well. But for the most part, better, like in terms of constructing the top 10 much better than the producer by a lot. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed what you heard here, links in the description to the original video. Go check it out. Go leave it a like. If you want to support Swiss Beatbox, links in the description to their channel as well. If you want to support me, links in the description. Not even a link. You're watching the video. Leave a like on this video. Sub to my channel. Links in the description to my Discord channel. Go check that out if you want to join it. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next Beatbox reaction video.